Now to the Oregon coast, where a father and his 2 children were pulled into the ocean by strong waves. Sadly, the little girl did not survive, and the son is still missing tonight. Our Zach Anders is hearing from the woman on the beach who called 911.
Sunday, and still no sign of that missing 4-year-old boy who was swept out to sea Saturday afternoon. The Coast Guard search has been called off. The seas here are too rough. Neighbors stare into a still turbulent sea, knowing the loss it contains can't be described.
Everybody in the neighborhood, they see all the emergency vehicles and they come running to see what they can do to help. And in a situation like this, there's nothing you can do.
Saturday, just steps away from the end of a trail that leads to the beach, a family taking in the spectacle that is the king tides, the highest tide of the year. 3 were swept away by a surprise wave. A 7-year-old girl was recovered from the water but later died in a seaside hospital. A 4-year-old boy still not found. The father alive, recovering in the hospital. Joanne Cornelius has lived here since 1972. Joanne was the one to call 911. She was patched into the Coast Guard. She relayed to the helicopter where to search.
It's horrible.
Today remains emotional.
It's the first thing we think about in the morning. When we got up this morning, it was the last thing we thought about last night, because you can't get, when it's so close, you can't get that out of your mind.
Even on a calm day here in the Pacific Ocean, the ocean can be dangerous.
This tragedy, a reminder, the ocean is unpredictable, dangerous.
King tide, like we had this weekend, it makes conditions even worse. You have to respect the elements and know that there's no telling what can happen.
A family suffers the loss of 2 children. This community mourns with them.
To have to tell also the other children that this sort of thing had happened, it's unbearable. It really is.
And while we don't know the exact circumstances that led up to the 3 of them being swept out to sea, even standing a couple dozen feet from the shoreline, you can still feel the raw power of the ocean, these punishing winds and the high tide really making for a dangerous situation here on the Oregon coast. And the Coast Guard tells me if you are caught in a situation where you're swept out to sea, that you are at the mercy of the ocean. The very best that you can do is try to stay afloat and signal for help. Make yourself visible in what is a very dangerous situation. Reporting from the Oregon coast, Zach Anders, Fox 12 Oregon.